So what are your guys' thoughts?
You know what? We've said our thoughts to begin with each of these times. It's been pretty consistent. What are your thoughts on this one? Because this is the first episode that actually created. There was an actual objective to be had as opposed to a setup.
I've come to peace with this show, right? There is no gravity to this show. There are no stakes in this show. There is no character arcs in this show. It's just it exists for three reasons. Number one is to introduce us to She-Hulk, another character into the MCU. Number two, it's a bonanza for Easter eggs. Like there just seems to be Easter eggs everywhere, from a Hulk flying off in a spaceship to what we saw in the last episode, which
the guy with the
Wolverine, just the biggest drop of Wolverine that just completely missed us last week. And then this week, all this stuff going on. So it's there for the Easter eggs. Like it's just chock full of, fan service and Easter eggs. But I begin to realize it's unashamedly so. Like this is just a sugar rush for fans, right? And it's like we don't care. Here's just a big piece of candy. Just go for it. And thirdly, it's just supposed to be funny, and that's it. That's the three reasons the show exists. Doesn't have any gravitas to it. It's just there for laughs and for those other two reasons. And I just thought this one was really funny. And at the end of it, instead of being like last week, I just went, oh my gosh. Now I'm used to it. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I laughed a lot. I really loved Nick Bronski with his 7 soulmates in the background and all that stupid stuff. I love that chick from who could shape shift.
The shapeshifter, the light elf,
and even the dumbass who convinced her that she was. Now, who's that? Is she a rapper? That chick,
Meg Thee Stallion? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Never heard of her. Never heard of her.
Oh yeah, definitely one of the biggest artists in the world right now.
Okay, so
obviously they were saying her name wrong when it was really annoying me because they kept saying Meg the Stallion, and it's not Meg the Stallion, it's Meg the Stallion, THA, not THEE. It was driving me nuts, and I didn't know whether this was a copyright thing or they're trying to just do a little bit slight of a change so that it's not the MCU is in our universe. It is elements that are similar that exist in this one.
And when they were shaking their ass in front of the camera right at the post credits, that sealed it. I was like, okay, this is not to be taken seriously. This is just what it is. It is. I was about to say it was an 80s sitcom without a laugh track, but even in 80s sitcoms, they used to have a 2-minute sit down and have a deep and meaningful where dad would sit down with the son and say, you've got to just be. There's always that. Whether it was Bill Cosby, dare I say it, or in, what was it? The one with the Olsen twins in it, or one of those. They always sat down and had it's Full House. They had this terrible deep and this one doesn't even have. And even Alec Mobile had a moment where she would, want a baby or she would cry in the tissues. This one just.
But it wasn't every episode. It goes back to that, the concept of TV of old. It is we set up for multiple episodes, and then you have a heavy moment. Then you set up, but it wasn't reoccurring, meaningful. That's what they do now. That's like This Is Us, where you have story, and then make you try and feel and cry. But even in Full House, it was always antics.
Oh, but there was always that stereotypical sit down and have a meaningful conversation that would last for about 2 minutes. Like, go back to every Family Ties episode. And that's why in the 90s, Seinfeld come along and said, no deep and meaningful moments, no lessons learnt.
Yeah.
And I'm not being down on the show for being it. It is what it is. And now I've come to peace with that. Because I did laugh a lot. In this episode. And so I thought, okay, I'll take that.
I do think you're going to come. I think now the problem is, though, you've come to peace with it. And I think you're literally about to do the jump into that next part. because they clearly showed up with the wrecking crew. So like everything was always a setup. But that's what I was saying. Like I don't know why you can't. I've learned a long time ago. You don't take, especially with the Marvel shows, they're never taken for what is the first initial ones. I think we got kind of, especially, I think, put it like this. I think WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier have always been more of the template that they wanted to go to versus Moon Knight and Miss Marvel being the template that Marvel wanted to go with, where Moon Knight and Miss Marvel, we had to kind of jump into it. It was like if we didn't see it within the and Hawkeye included as well too. If we didn't jump into it, like it wasn't going to make sense because we only had 6 episodes to run with. Well, this one we have 9 or 10 episodes with. Obviously, WandaVision we had 9 or 10. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier we had 8. You know, sorry, WandaVision we had 8.
More,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier we had 8. So I think we're back into the realm of where they wanted it. So the pacing at the beginning is always going to be like, what is it when everything is good? What is this buildup? Because we need to know what the buildup is before we go and tear everything down. Because it has to set it up. So like whenever it's like there's no stakes, it was like no, there weren't supposed to be. It was always 4 episodes. 4 episodes, and then we see where the stakes go. And that's even the reviews have always been like, what are the first 4 episodes? Everything has always been about the first 4 episodes of people liking that because
we should know in the first episode, and we do know what's at stake. Like it said in the first episode, how does she be a lawyer and a She-Hulk?
Right.
But it's still skips along. There's no. Yeah,
but I think that's exactly what the point, because if you put too much, like I think for them, they look at it as you give too much balance in between, then all you do is set up for you have a mid-tier balance at the end. But I feel like what they're trying to do is set up a big arc where when we get to episodes 5, 6, 7, like we're gonna get hit with the darkest hits, and then by the time we get to 8 or 9 or 10, I can't, because Heavy Spoilers said that we still had like 6 more episodes, and I'm like, that's a weird number to go off of, and I think it's really 5, but I can't actually find the total amount of episodes that are supposed to be for this show. But like whether it's 5 or whether it's 7 more episodes, I think what we're looking for is to see that final arc come back down where, again, she's going to have to realize her balance on this. But we are going to get those cameos because, again, they also love calling themselves out. They're part of the meta-ness.
Yeah.
I just start to see where this is going, especially when the wrecking crew revealed that they're working for someone.
Right.
So, like, we're just getting the fun stuff right now, but probably next episode we are.
I don't think it'll be next episode. I think it'll be episode 5. I think we got one more that we're got to see her continuing to be able to develop as a lawyer, and then people starting to push her lawyer and then push the She-Hulk. And how are we going to get this interbalance of her wanting to maintain her life as she wants to and be able to work? Because these are the things, like, they have hit the common theme. I just want to work. How can I do my best work? Can I be able to work? So conflict being set at its base, we're just doing it in a fun way. And then at this over the top of now, which we always hear about, whenever there's more heroes, there's more people who try and test that hero. So now you have this now overlying factor of, okay, there's a big face of it involved. Now that the Avengers are not the Avengers as we know. Tony's gone, America's gone, Hulk is now gone. Freaking, we're only seeing little bits of Falcon, but nobody's really high up on them. Ant-Man is just kind of popular, and we won't get that until the movies. And it's just like we're seeing this over the topness now trying to come over of, okay, someone's got to press on somebody else. And I think that's where that Titania stuff is, because even underneath, you know, we're seeing Titania has not been disregarded from the episode. We're just not seeing her.
Yeah, they better get a move on. I mean, if there's more stuff to come, we're at this 1/3 mark. So at the 1/3 mark, we should have a fair idea what's at stake. And as my filmmaking friend said to me, when I showed him one of the trailers for our cycling video, he said, What I want to know is what happens if you fail. Like, what's at stake? And in this show, if she fails, I'm not sure what's at stake. She'll go, oh, crap, I failed. Like, it just doesn't seem... And we're 1/3, going by the 3-act structure rule, which I'm trying to apply to TV shows. We should know by now that if she fails, it'll be emotional devastation, or the company will lock down, or superheroes.
But doesn't that make it? Oh, continue. I'm sorry.
But so in any movie, at the 1/3 mark, you should have a real problem that needs to be overcome. And there's a problem there with those guys who have turned up, but they've just turned up and she just beat them away, and it's still not sure why they're emotionally, or for her character, there's no reason to believe that they're any kind of danger to her at all, or her goal, what she's trying to achieve as a lawyer. They're just someone she beat up.
No, it's somebody who sent them to beat her up, and we know to get her blood.
But again, what is who cares? Like, what does that mean? If they get her blood, how does that stop her from being a lawyer? And she should probably have a feeling for that. She should feel threatened so that she could make a decision to try to counter that. But she doesn't even know that. So I get what you're saying. It's on a very superficial level. There's a threat there, but for the character, I'm still not sure that if these guys succeed, they take her blood, how does that affect her life? How does that stop her from reaching what Spielberg called her mega want? I'm being very scripty here, but but again,
I think towards the end of the episode, there's kind of like an aha moment for her, that she's kind of, I think, realizing that she needs to embrace that She-Hulk's going to be a part of her life. Hence, like the interview that she had with that news show. So
yeah.
But I will say this. I do think that the stuff with the blood goes. It's that reference back to episode 1 again, where Hulk initially had her blood and burned, and we know that if there's a transference of blood and if a body is capable of metasizing it does create the element of another Hulk, and hence sharing this power over and over again. So I think
that's definitely there for sure.
I think it's established, but I think also at the same time from this show, where the other common complaint that kept happening about MCU shows is that they're basically just 6, 7, 8 hour movies, and I think in this show is one of the early, not one of the first times, but a time that they're trying to say, we will create a TV show that has stuff, as opposed to a long movie broken up into segments. So I think they're trying to step away from that mini. So I think that's why that 3rd act arc isn't working in that same way here, because they're trying to establish episodic as opposed to establish consistent.
This episode was definitely episodic. Like, this one was 2 court cases, and she even says it one bit, and now this is where plot A meets plot B. I don't know if you remember she says that. So that was a huge wink at that real kind of thing. So it's definitely but again, I'm not. If this is what it is, then I was happy with what I saw today, because it was funny. Right, but I am going to put all that other side stuff aside, because my expectations just need to be changed to pick up on what they're doing. As I said, it's introducing She-Hulk, and obviously the blood stuff. Maybe there's going to be more Hulks to come. It's doing a lot of fan service, but again, I like the way it's just doing the fan service instead of. I think we've got to get over the idea with the MCU that fan service is bad.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. I never thought
fan service is world building. Like, you've got to. The reason someone like Wong turns up is not just, oh my gosh, it's Wong, even though she makes a joke about it, right? Or, oh my gosh, there's Abomination. Oh my, they're just doing. No, they're doing it to build, bring. They've got to connect.
Everybody's connected.
Because of what I realized with Moon Knight, and then a fair chunk of Miss Marvel, even though Miss Marvel has all references, if you don't do that, the series gets lost in a little bubble. Now, obviously, they brought Moon Knight, had no references to almost anything, And then Captain Marvel, it was just her little world. Of course, it referred, even if they had lots of stuff. So you actually got to have those cross references to other characters and other parts of the MCU, and not consider them to be fan service, because they have to connect somehow for it to all make sense. So what I thought that they've done here is said, you want to call it fan service? Well, you're going to call it fan service, but we're just going to just dump it all in this show. And so it's probably going to do a lot of heavy lifting. Under the guise of this comedy, it's under a lot of heavy lifting to bring a lot. So already we've got Hulk disappearing in a Sakaar ship.
It's a car.
Already we've already got Wolverine being mentioned. Already we've got, Abomination in there. Wong is again just coming up so often now that he's stepping up to be the leader or a key leader, if not the leader of the next Avengers, because he just has his fingers in every pie now.
Yeah, this has been the Wong phase. Ha!
The Wong phase.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
Die.